Hello, today I'm going to be talking to you about mindfulness and pain. So, there are a number of ways that we can cope more easily with pain. But please note that if you are experiencing pain, do ask a health professional who will give you the right advice. These methods are simply to help you along the way. You might find them useful. You might find that they just ease things a little bit. So you're very welcome to give them a try and see how you get on. So there are many different kinds of pain. All of us experience pain at some point in our lives, and that can be a fleeting moment, it can be ongoing, and that pain can be in a certain part of the body, or it can be all over the body. So we will experience pain in many different ways. So these methods try to give you some options so you can try and find the methods that work for you. So we've got a few different ways that I use to help with pain. Now, with mindfulness, we have different ways that we can work with pain. So there's the option where we tune out of pain. So we probably do this quite a lot in our lives. We distract ourselves. We perhaps watch some telly, read a book, do anything to take our mind off how it feels in the body. But with mindfulness, what we do is focus on the breath. And a counting breath meditation is really useful because it actually gives the mind something else to focus on apart from the pain. So I'll give you that option and we'll try and see how you get on. And it really is worth spending a moment trying these methods. So the other way is to tune into the pain. And this is something we don't tend to do. We most often go for the option to distract ourselves and not think about it. But actually what we find when we tune into pain is that perhaps that pain isn't quite what we thought it was. Maybe it moves and changes and it spreads to a different part of the body. So we're going to explore this option too, and this is useful for tension that we're holding on to. It's useful for pain that's held in one particular part of the body, and we can just explore and see how that goes. We don't have to spend a long time with it. If you find you need to ease out at any time, please do. However, I've also found that those with conditions like fibromyalgia may find some of these methods a bit challenging. So I've got one more way that we can try to be with the body to ease some of that pain, and we can just explore another way beyond these other two methods of tuning in and tuning out. It's a little bit of a compromise and a way that I found helps people with those kinds of conditions. So we'll explore those things together. Okay. So the first thing to do is find yourself a comfortable position. So that may be sitting in a chair, finding a nice comfortable place. It may be lying on the floor. Sometimes it's nice to lay down with the feet on the floor and the knees up. Gives you lots of support for your lower back. You can have cushions and blankets to make it comfortable. Or you may just like to lay on the bed. and take a moment to explore these different methods together. Just getting as comfortable as you can. Okay. So, let's explore the breath. Now, let's think about tension in the body. And what happens when we're stressed, we tense up. But the same thing happens when we have pain in the body. So let's explore this. We're just going to tense up a moment and just see what happens. So whether you're sitting or laying, we're going to clasp both fists really tightly, squeeze in, the shoulders might even lift up. And what happens with the breath when we really tighten the body and tighten those fists? And just gently release. Drop those shoulders, relax those arms, relax the fingers. So you may have noticed that when we tense in the body, we stop breathing. We hold the breath. And of course we will breathe again, but you know, when we experience pain and we tense up in the body, the first thing that stops is the breath. So this is a really important part of releasing some of the tightness around those areas of pain and just being able to soften into the body, into the breath is a good way to relax the body. If we can reduce the stressful feelings around pain, then we can cope much better. So when we do hold the breath, when we're breathing shallow in the upper chest here, we can create the stress response. So in order for us to cope more easily, we want to breathe a little deeper. Try and breathe so that the ribs expand to the sides. Maybe even into the diaphragm, just under the ribs. You might be able to feel when we take some deep breaths, there's some movement here. So if we just take a moment to settle into our breathing. Feeling that movement of breath in the body. Good. Getting into a nice rhythm of your breathing. And just tuning in to that movement. The rise and fall of your breath. As we settle into our breathing, see if we can relax into the body. Let's release that jaw. So sometimes we can be holding on to some tension. Let those teeth soften. Relax the tongue. And let those necks and shoulders relax. Feel them softening downwards. And let's just relax into the rest of the body. If we're noticing there's any other areas that just need to release. Scanning from the head down to the toes. And just soften all of those muscles all the way down to the tips of the toes. And don't worry if this doesn't happen immediately. Just setting the intention to release. So we're going to have a little practice of the counting breath meditation. Just spending a few moments so you can see how by focusing on the counting, it will take our mind to our breath and to the counting. A distraction, if you like, but a focused distraction. So we're going to be counting to 10, and we're counting the in and out breath. So I'll count you in and you can have a little go. Taking a nice natural breath. Now as we start to breathe in again, we're going to count 1. Breathing out. Counting 2. In. 3. Out. 4. In. 5. Out. 6. In. 7. Out. 8. In. 9. Out. 10. And carrying on from 1. Breathing in. 1. Out. 2. In. 3. Out. 4. And just let yourself continue with your own breath. You can gently soften your gaze, close the eyes, focus in. Each time you reach 10, you just start again from 1, counting the in and out breath. Don't worry if your mind gets distracted. Simply bring yourself back to the breath and the counting. Settling into your breath. So let's do one more together. Breathing in. 1. Out. 2. In. 3. Out. 4. In. 5. Out. In 7, out 8, in 9, out 10. Now we can release the counting and just return to notice the rise and fall of the breath. Coming back to being aware of the movement in the ribs, the diaphragm. Just see if your breath is deepened in any way. And just noticing how you feel after a few moments of the counting breath meditation. So, you can give this a try anytime you just need a little release and relax. Any part of the day, morning, daytime, nighttime that suits you. The breath is always with you, so you can do a few minutes of this at any time. So we're going to try the next method, and this is tuning in. So our counting breath was tuning out, giving us another focus. But as we tune in, we are going to tune in to notice the sensations in the body. So now as we talk about an area of pain, a particular area, we're not going to call it pain. We're going to call it a sensation. And see if you can describe the feeling rather than calling it pain. What we really want to do is find a non-judgmental approach. And that just means being really kind to yourself, not being harsh. You know, we can talk to ourselves in quite a hard way sometimes and tell ourselves off for feeling things. Actually, if we approach this in a way that we just notice without any inner commentary, that we just notice the sensations we feel. So this can vary from person to person, and this is just how it feels to you. So we might have sharp, tingling, stabbing, pulling. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to describe the sensations, but please do that without criticizing. Do it in a way that we notice and we're kind. It's okay to have those feelings. And this is helping us get to know our body really well. Learning how to be with those sensations. So we might find that combining a little bit of counting breath with this tuning in is quite helpful. It helps us to relax a little bit through the body, settle into our breathing. And now we're going to explore the tuning in method. So again, settle the body down nice and comfortably. Good. And then we can close the eyes if you feel comfortable, or just gaze down at the floor. Soften the gaze if you're laying down on the bed. And we're going to take a moment to tune into the body. So, is there a particular place in the body that is calling your attention? Maybe there's a sense of holding on, of tightness. Maybe you can even describe the sensation to yourself. Now we're really going to spend a moment just feeling into that part of the body. So what we're noticing in here is, does this sensation stay the same as you tune in? Going very gently here, giving yourself a moment to explore. So what can happen when we tune into a particular part of the body is that the sensation we feel may move, change, expand. So just exploring and noticing, does your sensation change, move, expand? We'll just spend a moment longer tuning in, noticing the sensation, going gently and kindly, and notice if there's any change going on. Continuing to breathe nice and deeply. And if you find it a challenge to tune in, just calm down, release that. Good. How does it feel as you tune in? Does that change the movement of the sensations help? Does it release a little bit? Well done. So let's pause there. You can come back to this at any moment, just tuning in for a minute or two, for as long as you feel comfortable. And notice how the sensations move and change. This works really well for tension in the body, for particular areas of pain. And just go gently and be kind. Well done. So, let's do one more practice that I find really useful for people that are struggling with pain in different areas of the body. And this may work for you or it may not, but we can give it a try and see how it feels. So this is a variation of a body scan meditation, and there are many of these that you can do. But we tend to do a mindfulness practice a body scan that moves from the head down to the toe. Now this is because we spend a lot of time in our thoughts and in our worries. So if we can bring our mind all the way down to our toes, it releases the thought. So it does wonders to calm the worry, to release our stress. And it's a little bit like tuning in, that we take our awareness through the body. But we're going to do it in a way that creates space, that we don't tune in quite as detailed as we would have just done a moment ago. So, once again, find yourself a nice, comfortable position, sitting or laying. And you may like to close the eyes here. So we're going to bring our awareness to the space above the head. And just be aware of the space above the very top of the head. Bringing that awareness downwards to the space in front of the eye. The space in front of the nose and cheeks, and the space in front of the mouth and chin. Feeling that space around the edges of the head, next to the ear and behind the head, feeling a sense of space behind. Moving downwards to the neck and throat, finding a sense of space behind the neck, either side of the neck and in front of the throat. Finding a sense of space above the shoulders, a sense of space around the chest, a sense of space behind the shoulder blade, feeling into that upper body and the space around the upper body, the space around the upper arms, the space in front of the diaphragm at the center of the body, the space behind the center of the back, the space around the elbow, the space in front of the belly, and the space behind us, behind the lower back, the space around the lower arm, and space around the wrists, hands and fingers. Feeling into the space around the hip. Feeling the space in front of the thigh, behind the thigh. Feeling the space in front of the knee, behind the knee. The space in front of the lower leg and behind the lower leg. The space around the ankle. The space around the feet and the toes. And just feel that sense of space and openness around the whole body. So let's take a couple of breaths. Feel that movement of breath in the body again. Well done. Maybe here you'd like to have a little wiggle of fingers and toes. A little bit of a move and stretch. Waking up the body once more. Good. So, when you're ready, you can open those eyes. You can come back. And just know that it takes time to work with mindfulness. It's not something that happens overnight, but if you do a little bit every day, gradually we can ease through the difficulties. We can cope better with any pain, tension, sensations in the body. So, please give that a go, and I wish you much luck with trying.